Sunscreen, very important all year round, especially during the summer months. Beauty expert Shobana Lakkavally is here with some tips on sunscreen to keep us safe. Good morning, how are you?
Good, Bob, how are you?
Good, well, I was just talking to our weather guy, Brian. He said the UV index today in Hamilton is 10. Like when it hits 6 or 7, that's a warning level, so 10.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
dangerous today. So tell us about, okay, we hear about UV all the time in the index, but there's also UVB to be concerned about. What's the difference between the two, and how damaging are they?
Okay, so they are very damaging. There's two kinds of rays that we get exposed to. UVB, that makes up 5% of all the rays we're exposed to. This causes burning as well as cancers. Then you have UVA. This makes up 95% of the rays that we're exposed to. They get us indoors. They cause cancers as well as most of the premature aging and hyperpigmentation. So it's very important to protect ourselves from the sun all year around.
Okay, so there's so many different sunscreens.
Yes.
There's physical and chemical. You can just break it down for us?
Yeah, absolutely. It does get confusing. There's two kinds. There's physical sunscreens. These basically act as a shield, so they deflect the sun rays. Then you have chemical sunscreens, and these basically absorb the rays, convert them into heat, and then release them. One example, one of my favorites, is the Lotus Aroma Face Sunscreen SPF 30. It's 100% natural, Bob. It also has mineral filters. It's very reasonably priced. And it also has aloe in it, as well as soybean oil, which gives you this really beautiful natural glow. It's not like icky and yucky like some of the reputations that sunscreens have. So it's a really great product. On the other hand, if you're looking for chemical sunscreens, Supergoop is a fantastic line. It's clean and it goes on just like skincare, so you don't feel that thickness.
Okay, we saw in some of those close-ups some of the symbols we need to look at. Can you break those down for us?
100%. So you will see that a term used in Canada and everywhere really is broad spectrum. And that basically means that you get protection from UVA and UVB rays if you reapply every 2 hours. Now, when you see the SPF symbol, right, that is called the sun protection factor. That only pertains to mostly UVB rays. Those are 5% of the overall rays. So what about the UVA rays, right? Like, I didn't know this until being in the industry and researching and learning more, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you still need the UVA protection. And in Canada, this is an optional symbol, but you can see it on the screen. It's a UVA with a circle around it. And it basically means that you get 1/3 of the protection as the SPF. So here on the Lotus Aroma bottle, you'll see that the SPF is 30. It has a UVA symbol, and that means that you get a protection of 10, which is pretty reasonable. And in Asia, they have a system called a PA system. And it's basically a PA with a plus, plus, plus after it. And a lot of non-Asian brands use it, like Supergoop. And basically, if you have 4 pluses, you get a protection of 16. If you get 3 pluses, you get a little bit less. So there's 2 different kind of ways to gauge the UVA protection, which is optional in Canada as a symbol.
Right, but it's really important because, as you mentioned, the SPF is only dealing with the UVB.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll find that in places like Australia and in Europe, the UVA symbol is actually mandatory, whereas in Canada, it's optional. But if the symbol isn't on the product, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not getting the UVA protection. I would recommend calling customer service because sometimes it's just not on the label.
Okay, well, thanks for the great advice as we head out into the hot sun today. Shobana Lakkavally, beauty expert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.